All right, I got it.
All right, you got 1 minute to get your coffee and sit in.
You know what? I will give you a line from 1 a.m. to 1:30.
Three books I swing to it.
You're not doing a very good job of settling in.
We're not doing this.
Just a little further.
There you go. I love that. I love that. It's perfect.
All right, let's get this started. Good morning, everybody. You get back to that. Good morning, everybody. Hey. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. For those who haven't been here before, 1 Million Cups is an organization by the Kaufman Foundation. They've put this together to connect entrepreneurs and business owners across the country. There's about 120 plus places around. Where's the clicker? I got it. And until I get something, you just have to look at this slide. Oh, James, look at you. All right, there should be an iPad going around. If you get it, please sign in. This isn't so we can give it to the CIA. It's just to keep track of how many people we have. So we can say, look, we really had people here. We're not making it up and eating donuts. So we get it, sign it in. It helps Incubizo. It helps us keep track of how many people are here. All right, 1 Million Cups. It's a free national program. Educates and engages entrepreneurs, provides ideas, connections, and tools for success. It's basically a giant brainstorming with all of us getting together. Somebody comes up and tells you about their business. They've got some challenges. They tell us what they did, how it worked, and then we get up and say, hey, I have a great idea. It worked for me, might work for you. So that'll happen a little bit later. So I want to welcome everybody. How many of you have been here before? All right, give yourself a hand. How many past presenters do we have here? All right, so those of you who are thinking about presenting, these are the people you can talk to who've done it before. And then we've got our organizers. Would our organizers stand up, please? These are the people that give their time so you can do this every day, every Wednesday. And who's here for the first time? You are not, Tony. All right, blown kisses. Welcome, everyone. If you've been here for the first time, we hope you enjoy it. I want to give a shout out to our partners, Incubizo, for giving us this lovely space to work in. Let's give them a hand. And to Thrive for being our main sponsor. Oh, look, it's Open Thrive. We just mentioned them. Give them another hand. They got a slide. And then we want to welcome those of you who are joining us on YouTube and Zoom this morning. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, there's the QR code with the happy little dinosaur in it. So scan it and join us. Coffee sponsors. We need them. That's how you guys get coffee and treats. If you want to be a coffee sponsor, you contact Incubizo, or you can get a hold of Christina there. She'll be glad to take your money, sign you up. And then you provide the goods, and then you get to get up and brag about it. Coffee sponsors are the only ones who get to pitch their business. So if you're a coffee sponsor, you get to come up and spend 5 minutes just telling us about what you do and how we can use your services. Speaking of coffee sponsors, this week's coffee sponsor is Compass Commercial with Lynn Drake. Come on up, Lynn. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Good morning, everybody. As he said, my name is Lynn Drake. I own a company called Compass Commercial. Am I in the right spot? Oh,
You are
Bring the clicker.
no.
Okay. Point at me, I'll play it.
I got it.
Okay.
Nobody's got you.
We help business owners and nonprofits lease or purchase office, industrial, or retail buildings and coastal land. Many people assume that all real estate agents are residential agents, but that's not the case. There's actually two categories of real estate agents, commercial and residential. We don't find very often the residential agents working in commercial and vice versa. So in commercial real estate, the people generally work within a certain sector. So they might be an industrial broker, it might be an industrial listing broker, or they might be an industrial site selection broker. Some people work both sides of a transaction, and some people don't. In residential real estate, I think I brought this up last time I talked, they have to tell you who they represent, and unfortunately in commercial, they do not. So what happens is you think you've hired someone to represent you in the commercial market, and they may not be representing you, and they do not need to tell you, but you can ask. Compass Commercial is one of I only know 3 or 4 of the firms in the state that only does tenant and buyer representation. We only represent business owners, not landlords, because we built a conflict of interest. And our mission is to help business owners find the best possible location at the best price and the best terms. Oop, that's out of order.
That one?
It's not the right one. Oh, no, it's right. I'm sorry. Yes, it's right. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the picture on the left because that's how I got here today. I'll talk to that after I go through some stuff. I have managed over 1,800 real estate transactions in my career. It's more than most people would ever touch. While 90% of commercial agents have no formal training, I actually have a master's in real estate, and I also teach classes on how to do commercial real estate. When I was at Central Transport, I was responsible for the acquisitions of truck terminals and warehouses back in 1985. I was one of the only women in the United States, and I worked all the way from Mexico up through Toronto. That was my territory, believe it or not. At Ameritech, I worked in zoning for cellular towers and worked amongst the different jurisdictions in the state to get those sites leased. That was actually a very fun business, very hard, but very fun. So each role I had in corporate real estate taught me something new about commercial real estate. And then a defining moment in my life came. I decided that I would take an outward bound expedition in the Pioneer Mountains of Butte, Montana. So as we came into Butte to land, I looked down because there was rumor of fires and I could see them. I'm like, okay. And when we landed, we were told that the forest fires were not going to catch up to us. So we started our trip on the top to climb to the top of Mount Tukipia, 14,500 feet. That is me sitting at the very peak. Only 3 of us finished this. Sorry. Only 3 of us out of 12 finished this hike. I ended up carrying 60 pounds on my back. It was very difficult going up that mountain. When we would come over ridges, we would see snowflakes, and not snowflakes, but what looked like snowflakes out of ash. So we finally got to the peak. We started down the next day, and we were evacuated from the mountain. And 24 hours later, that mountain was completely burned down, basically. So that was what happened there. But anyways, what happened was when we did an hour of silence at the top of the mountain, I decided I wanted to make a change in my life. I had no clue what that could be, none. But I came down with that decision. So that experience actually ended up inspiring me to leave corporate real estate, which I had been in for 15 years, and dedicate my career to commercial brokerage. I love helping other business owners and nonprofits find the right chapter for them. I love helping nonprofits find the next chapter for their business location. Next slide, please. Okay. So what makes Compass Commercial different? Well, our mission, for one, we only represent business owners and nonprofits, never commercial landlords. We assist tenants and buyers with the acquisition of office, retail, industrial buildings, and land. What we do is we start by providing some tools to help the client determine how many square feet they need, and then we help them develop a budget that will actually work. Going around and lowballing is not going to work, because that's what a lot of people think. The building's empty. The landlord will take half the rent. Well, that's not true, because if the building's empty, the bank is now in charge of determining who the tenants are. So it's very unusual that you would find somebody taking a lowball up to lease anyways. So what we do is, once we figure out how many square feet they need, where they need to be, why they need to be there, we do a search. I just finished one for another client a couple of days ago. There were 60 potential sites. I contacted every broker with a list of what we needed, when we needed, how we needed it, what kind of improvements we needed. And by the time I was done, I was down to 30 sites. So then I send the list to the client, and then they review it and pick out what they want to tour. Once they want a tour, I set that up, and that can be challenging because in commercial, unlike residential, the real estate brokers show up for every single showing. So I have like 6 or 8 brokers that I got to coordinate all that stuff with. And then when we come back from the tours, and I ask them to pick a minimum of 3 locations. The reason we do 3 is because when I worked at Kelly Services and I had 1,000 offices, if we only had 1 location, I guarantee somebody else grabbed it before we did. So we go after 3 locations. I prepare a written request for proposals or letters of intent, depending on the type of building that we're looking at. From there, the landlords give us a response. I prepare financial analysis for each location. So they have a cash flow that shows the entire term, what's free rent, all those types of things. It's all in there. What are the triple nets? All the costs are there. And then in addition to that, I prepare a second report, which is a report that shows all the 3 sites on a couple of pages, but they're side by side. So it says, okay, this is the total cost for site A, B, C, and then these are the terms. Because in my experience, it is not the rent that generally makes the end decision. It's generally the terms. So like, let's say that I was provided parts for one of the top 3 automotive companies, and I needed a 7-year term in order to amortize the improvements for the space that I need. So how do we get around that if I only have a 5-year term with that automotive supplier? Well, we put in an early termination fee, an early termination and a fee. That way, if they get renewed with their contract, they don't have to pay that fee, they don't have to walk away. Just an example of some of the things that we do. So we basically guide the client through the entire process. And we never represent professional landlords, and we provide advocacy for every step. Next one, please. Oh, I didn't see you had that there. Okay. I have some items on the coffee table here. The front one is if you're thinking that you might want to lease a building, I have a description of what's allowed in those buildings. I have a description of how you figure out the rent on each of the 3 different types of buildings that most people lease. I also have some case studies if you want to see how I saved the Girl Scouts $1 million on a lease. So you could take a look at that. But that moment of silence on the top of the mountain taught me that every big change starts with the first step. If you're ready to make the next move with your building or acquire a building, I'd be honored to help you find your path forward with that building. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Coffee and treats from Lynn. All right, as you can see, we've got some upcoming presenters. We also have some room for more presenters. So if you want to present, there's some openings here. But you can see we've got coming up next week, we have Live As It, which is a return presenter. We like to start the month off checking in with someone who's presented before. Then we have Embracing Transformations, Stylist Suits, a special town hall that should be fun. And then TBD, I hear they're great. So if you want to present, and I forgot the clicker. So if you want to present, we would love to have you. It's not a pitch. You cheek it up, and like I said earlier, you've got something that you're dealing with. You just need someone to give you a hand, figure out what to do. You come up here. It's a brainstorming with all of us. You go through the walls that you've come up against, and you look, and together we've come up with solutions. You shouldn't come up here and say, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. You should talk about, I tried this and it worked, or I know somebody who did this, or I've got a connection who can help you deal with that. So it's not intimidating. We've got coaches that'll help you get your presentation ready. So when you're ready to present, you can scan that, or you can go to our site and sign up there. All right, now are you ready for the big presentation?
Yes.
Come on up, Michael Ioerger from My Wellness Consulting.
Hi everyone, good morning. So my name is Michael Ioerger, and what I'm going to be talking about today is my business and My Wellness Consulting. There we go. So for my company, what I do is I focus on helping physicians find the support and care that they need. A lot of physicians struggle with actually getting healthcare for themselves because they work during healthcare hours. They also struggle feeling like healthcare providers have things that they can really offer them. Because until you really have something great, it's hard to feel like another physician's going to be able to tell you something new or different. And another kind of key challenge they run into is privacy concerns. There's a lot, especially when I work in both Michigan and Ohio. In Ohio, there are things where if a physician tells me that it's impairing their ability to practice, I actually have to report them to a confidential monitoring program. And so there's specific regulations around their practice and makes people very concerned about talking to other providers about some of those issues. And so, again, it can be challenging in getting the care and support that they need. So what I do is I focus on helping them stay healthy. We try to do a lot of preventive work. If they're wanting to improve their performance capacity, I've got a performance skill set that I can really kind of break out to help them with that. And then I work on getting them rapidly back on track if they do have a specific health issue that's coming up with very targeted, intensive support. So what does this actually look like? So again, it's this very holistic care and support for physicians type of model. My background, so there's a lot of letters after my name. What I do is I leverage my training as a strength and conditioning specialist. So the CSCS is actually the certification you need to be a college, Olympic, or professional coach. for strength and conditioning. And so that's the kind of level of people that I'm trained to work with. I'm a fitness nutrition specialist on top of that. And then I have a PhD in social psychology that focused on sexual behavior and interpersonal relationships, especially trust and power dynamics. And then I have a master's in public health that focuses on health systems policy and healthcare administration. And then on top of that, I have my MD training, where I did a residency program in family and community medicine, but I'm also working towards board certification in lifestyle medicine. And I actually started out working with college athletes in sports medicine and have more of like a performance medicine background. And so what I really offer my clients is the ability to have this like 360-degree health coaching for any sort of issue that they're having in terms of performance or in terms of their health and well-being. We're able to work on those things together. Interestingly, this includes spiritual work. There's a lot of moral injury that happens as a healthcare provider and struggling in that environment. And so a lot of why I feel like people end up working with me is because I'm able to integrate kind of all these different pieces together. I do have also training and experience in the integrative like medicine and some experience in like the functional medicine spaces. And so again, I'm able to bring all of these pieces together for my clients. What I also do is that I think is different is when you go to the doctor, you typically think about going to them, getting advice, and then leaving and having to go out and kind of put that into practice on your own. What I do is I actually provide very tangible support and resource navigation to my clients. And so I think a great example of that is if you're coming to me because you're feeling really burnt out or overwhelmed, because you have an older parent who has developed a health issue, and you're now having to provide care and support and have to help them navigate their health issues kind of on top of doing your job, that can be a lot, especially if your specialty is not in family and community medicine or something along those lines. And so what I will actually do for my clients to help them with the burnout is actually take over helping with that care coordination and make sure that we have a really solid plan in place for their older adult parent. I don't take over the care of their parent like completely. They still have their primary care provider, they still have their specialist, but I can come in and provide that role that they're being expected to do of making sure that their parent's actually getting best care, actually getting all the things that they need done. And I can also help facilitate those challenging conversations that don't always work the best between a parent and a child, right? And so having that third party come in can help take some of the stress off the plate. The other thing that I do is I really build my service around them. So everything that I do work-wise is virtual or in-person visits, like house calls for them. I don't have a physical location anywhere because I work throughout Michigan and Ohio. It doesn't make sense to have a busy physician come to me. I go to them. And the other piece that's actually really important for my clients is I don't take insurance. That's really critical for protecting their information, their personal information from a health information perspective. Because my health records do not get shared with anybody else. And I'm the only provider, only employee in my practice. So nobody else has access to their health information, which that privacy piece, because of the issues that I was kind of talking about before in terms of having mandated reporting kind of elements with some of the disclosures, is really important for them feeling like they have the safety and security that they need to talk openly and really get guidance on how to navigate some of the challenging issues that we face. So that's what I do. The challenge is you've probably never heard of anybody who's done this before. And I don't know anybody else who does this. It took me a long time. It took me 20 years to get all those letters after my name. I started college full-time when I was 16, and I finished 4 months ago, right? So I've been doing it for 20 years. And I've been health coaching actually for more than a decade. But a lot of people, again, when they look at me, what they see is they see that I'm a relatively new physician. They don't necessarily understand all of that experience that I have and how I can really help them. Because when I tell them I'm a physician to physicians, which I think kind of strikes the right notes on some level, what they start to think about is, okay, what's your medical qualifications? And again, I think I actually stand up pretty well on that, but when you're working with your colleagues who see you as another physician, it's hard to know all those other elements you bring to the table. And so that's, again, I think a kind of challenging piece with it, because there is just with physicians, they're naturally very conservative and kind of skeptical, especially when people are coming advertising towards them, trying to work with them, trying to engage with them. There's a lot of, I even myself experiences a lot of people are coming to me looking for me to pay them money for things, and it's hard to know if this is really where my money should go, right? So what I've tried, lots of things. We're trying to do all the things. So colleagues, personal connections, that's obviously one space that I've been in with that. One of the challenges with that is a lot of the people that I have the best relationships with are still young and in lower levels of kind of the system, right? So they have contacts, but they're not necessarily the wide networks that I really need right now. The other piece, social media, because of other stuff that I do, social media I think is useful for me to be on and kind of grow my name and kind of element there. I do think in terms of market segment, physicians who are 24, or physicians, residents, medical students that are 24 to 40 that are having mental health issues. My marketing analysis shows that I get really well with them, and that works for Instagram, I think. But the biggest issue in terms of Instagram is most physicians on Instagram have private accounts, and you can't tell if they're physicians. So when they add you as followers, you have no idea who they are, right? Which is okay. But it just makes it so that some of the strategies that you might typically use through social media to kind of turn follows into clients, you just can't really use with this audience. And then, Facebook, LinkedIn, there's kind of similar issues in those spaces. On LinkedIn, you at least know that they're physicians, but it's just a higher cost for a lot of that stuff. And it's still the same skepticism piece of you're reaching out to me at trying to sell me a service, what am I going to do with that, right? I'm doing in-person events, so one of the things that's really nice about Michigan is Michigan State Medical Society. If you pay the membership fee, you actually get free CME, and they do a lot of free in-person events. And so, I've been able to go to these different events, talk to some of my colleagues, tell them about what I'm doing, get my own CME that I need for what I need to do. And so that's been helpful. There's some of that that's starting to get me connected into the community here a little bit more. One of the challenges, though, is a lot of physician networking events are kind of pay to play. And so there's just a level of cost in trying to get in the room with physicians. It's really high, and it's not what I have in my budget as I'm starting out and I'm doing this. The other thing that I'm kind of working on actively is getting involved in speaking engagements. There's actually a first responders mental health and well-being conference that's coming up in April for rural first responders here in Michigan. I've done actually work with first responders and rural fire department previously, and so it seems like a good fit. And trying to get out and do more of those things is what I'm trying to do to kind of get a little bit more kind of name recognition. But those are kind of primary routes that I've kind of tried to utilize so far. Lessons learned. The biggest challenge for me is physicians, when you start to struggle, anybody who starts to struggle with burnout, socially withdraws. Physicians especially, the first thing they do is they shut off social media, they stop talking to colleagues. They put their heads down, they stop responding to text messages, they just try to do the work and get through the pile that they're in, right? But this makes it so that other people around them don't know that they're struggling because they're not really talking about it. And it makes it so that they're not on social media seeing me and my advertisements at that point in time where they actually need me. And so that makes it challenging to really get access to those clients at that kind of critical point. The other part that I've already talked about is that it's just kind of challenging to get access to physicians through social media and through in-person events because of either cost or just kind of how they utilize those environments. When I do connect with physicians, all my colleagues tell me, this is wonderful. We need this. This is a thing that we have to have if we're going to be able to find our ways out of some of these situations. But they haven't been able to really turn into more leads yet because of that issue of our colleagues are not talking to us when we're struggling. I'm hitting people after they've struggled and they're in a better place. They recognize the value of what I have to offer, but they don't know anybody right now who's actually in that place that's struggling that could use me. And then I already kind of talked about kind of who seems to be most interested in engaging with me right now. I think part of that is because I haven't figured out a great way to communicate to my physician colleagues that I do that kind of care coordination service for older adults and that piece. I think if I'm able to get that across a little bit better, I think an older demographic of physician would be interested in working with me. But I just know that I haven't been able to effectively get that across yet. So kind of questions for the group. How do I create value messaging to really connect with my target audience? Again, I've kind of mentioned this piece about how do I help them understand that care coordination piece is one thing that's really in my mind right now. And then the other question is, how do I effectively convey my messaging to a hard to reach audience? And so again, it feels like I have a service that is wanted. It feels like there are definitely people that want to utilize it, but I'm having trouble with that marketing piece of getting that connection to happen. And so I'm looking forward to any sort of ideas that you all have for me on that.
Nice job. Nice job. Hi, everybody. Let me find another microphone.
I'm waiting for the mic.
I'm back. All right, let's give Michael one more hand for a good presentation. And then anybody, you know the drill by now, come on up. Make sure you stand in this area so the people on YouTube can see your lovely faces.
All right. Okay, I'm Lynn Drake with Compass Commercial again. I used to do the work for Beaumont Hospital. And then I decided I would go after other doctors. You know, it was easier. Actually, I used to do Beaumont Hospital's work, frankly. But so in LinkedIn, there are third-party services that you can say, and I use them. That's why I'm suggesting it. Say I want to reach these types of doctors and this and this and this. And I did that for myself. And those doctors not only responded, they actually told me their real estate problems. So maybe if you can pinpoint, are you going after a geriatric people? You know what I mean? I would make it real specific, but I found that successful for myself. Let's see what else. Do you have a Google business page?
I do not.
Okay, so, and maybe they might want to keep anonymity, but if they wouldn't mind, I'm actually the #1 real estate agent in Oakland County, and I don't pay for any upgrades. When I get done with a client, I ask them, finish the transaction, I ask them to rate me. And I have, most of my clients are women, but they pretty much have all rated me and I have great reviews. So if you could get some doctors that have worked with you, that would be a great way for them to get you higher in standing. And let's see. And I think that's it. Oh, so I would, but one thing I would be really clear is really define the areas that you're working in. So is it what do you call it?
Geriatrics.
Geriatrics? Is there something else that you could do some similarly? So I would make sure that you find those, and you can also pay, there's actually a lot of great marketing people here. They can get you the list. Okay, thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Valerie Pence. I'm a functional nutritionist, and I feel you for sure. So, yes, physicians are very skeptical. If it's outside of their scope of practice, they're like, don't need it, don't know about it, good luck to you, kind of thing. So I've had my practice since 2015. One of the things that expanded my practice was working with a functional medicine physician who was originally a DO and then went back to school for functional medicine. And the reason she had done that is because she was having health problems, and based on her own training, she couldn't help herself. And so she was like, there's something else going on here if I can't fix my own health problems as a physician, right? So you need one case study. You just need one physician, whether it's a young person who's, right? You need one so that you can get a letter of recommendation. You have your own case study of like, here's what it actually can do, right? a podcast would help, a book would help, whether it's your own podcast or you're on other people's podcasts. You can seek people out. Now, if you've written a book, it's easy to get on somebody's podcast, right? So I know these are all very grand ideas, but they're all great tools, right? You need additional tools for support, for sure. Medical conferences, I agree. So they're super pricey. They're usually $3,000, and that doesn't include the cost of travel and, right, to get like a 4-day conference. I know. I've been to a few, and it's like your head's spinning. So it's not a bad idea because there's a ton of networking that happens at those conferences, but yes, there is that upfront cost. Sometimes you can get in if you are like a vendor, they'll have vendor tables, and if you want to sponsor, sometimes it's more affordable to go in as a sponsor. You could try that. So I haven't done that, but I've watched people do that. But your biggest obstacle is the skepticism for sure. So getting one, if you get one and you can get a letter of recommendation, you can build on that. And then you get that letter, old school where you're literally showing up at a doctor's office, like, can I leave you my information, right? And in that situation, I do recommend, they're probably all gonna say, you need branding, you need a clear message where it's like an elevator pitch. You need 30 seconds where it's very clear what you do, because you're clearly very smart and you have a lot of education, but that's very overwhelming to be like, what do you do, right? So very clear branding and marketing, and all that takes money. I know it's so difficult, but I feel you, and we should connect, and if I can help you at all, I'd love to be able to do that. At this point now, I have several functional medicine physicians who do refer me, so maybe I can connect you with
I
that.
appreciate it.
Awesome. Good luck to you.
At one point, I joked that I might be Olivia Pope of Physics and Wellness, kind of that.
I'm Lisa. Here's my card. I'm a grant writer, but a lot of my strategies will work for you. It's so expensive to go after the big fish right away. But there are lots of sub-conferences, lots of networks on Facebook or different social media where people who are in your target audience are talking with each other on smaller levels and who are getting together, networking. Those are the organizations you might want to go after instead of the huge expensive ones. Those are also better because when you go to those events or when you contribute online, those are people in your area who can get to know you. Once people know you, that makes them more apt to be not only receptive to your services personally, but to referring you out. And it's the you part of it that needs to be in your message. It's the you part of it that needs to be in your marketing and that you need to push with everyone. So you want to make sure all those pieces are in place. And it's a stereotype, but women do tend to be far more receptive to self-care and other care. So a women's physicians networking group might be a good place for you to go, where they're not necessarily all women, but they're predominantly. And when physicians are going through trouble and at work, the men tend to go to their female colleagues to say, da, 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 and then she would say, I know something that can work for you. So working within their smaller local networks is the way to get yourself established.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'm Emily Jacobs. I'm the founder of a community called Empowered Moms. But before that, for 20 years, I spent in healthcare as a nurse and nursing leader. So I actually do feel your pain with the skepticism. Where I got a lot of my background coaching was through EAPs and ERGs. So in HR, they have an employee resource system, something, where it's free for the employees, but you get paid as like a consultant. So that could be a piece of looking into, again, I know you have your own business, but they only outsource third parties, so we all have our own businesses. They pay okay.
Yeah.
But again, it's good experience to get those case studies to then say or ask permission. But I hear you is that a lot of times with physicians, what I found, because I mostly work with nurses, which are a little bit easier to, which you're talking about, females sometimes are just easier to ask for help and receive it, is that physicians, what I found is that their mindset is, well, I can fix myself, right? So this, and we can chat later, but it just in terms of even female networking groups, I have some physician friends that do like functional medicine or their practices like that, that I could connect you with, even if it's maybe they know somebody of how to get yourself out there. And, but yes, your work is very needed. And it's interesting, I would play on those people that are saying how much it's needed and see what kind of service, and again, these are just ideas, but could you offer them a piece of that where they give you a testimonial, whether it's free, discounted, whatever you are using to kind of grow that market. But what they're saying is now you have the social proof of a physician, right? Again, very, very difficult to probably get that, but find the ones that are willing. And like they were saying, is like focus on that, and then the bigger fish might come, but sometimes you don't need it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you after
Yeah,
the
please do.
connections.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning. Hi. I listened to your thing and I'm great. I have several suggestions for you. First of all, I have a social media app I developed and I have a yoga app. But let's start with your first problem, connecting physician. My daughter is actually going through a residency program in Ohio, and I can see the struggle that she has. The only people that she listens to is a senior, the third year resident. So connecting with the schools who are in the residency program, actually the the first year one actually listens to them and they become the future resident. So I think one way to solve your problem is to find the residents in each school and connect with them, and actually then they can there become a mentor and they listen to them. That's one good way of connecting. The second one is she's very busy, like she has to go at night and all the doctors are very busy. They don't have time to go to a gym and do those things. So I have an app, like I talked about, where you can see the instructor in front and practice at any time at your home. So you don't have to go at odd time to a gym and do that. That's one part that we can really work on. And the third thing is my app, I talked about the social media, where people to people connect, right? If you put your services over there, it will find the match for somebody who is seeking. So those are the three things that probably we can talk more, but I think reaching to the school is the first thing, getting those in front of the residency program, and would be a good start for that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Daniel. Nice to meet you. I run a local psychotherapy. Just a little closer. Okay. I run a local psychotherapy practice in Bingham Farms. I see a lot of gambling addiction, and I do actually have a physician in my caseload that struggles with gambling addiction. And when you were talking, I was like, man, this guy really needs you. And I think that may be a piece of it, right? I mean, doctors are gate-kept. I deal with that, right? There's always a receptionist making sure I can't go back there and choose with the doctor. But I think, whether it be therapists, lawyers too, right? Physicians go to therapists, physicians go to lawyers. Someone that already has that trust built up, and then you have the trust built up with them, kind of like a side route of like, oh, hey, I know this guy, he could be really of service to you. He trusts me, and therefore he trusts you, and that might be a way you can kind of build some bridges.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea.
Hey there, Shalise Daniels, breast coach and builder of Flow, the app. So first thing that came to mind when you talked about elder care was there are many organizations and associations where people go for support. I have a little bit of personal experience with a family member who was a physician and struggled with a lot of the healthcare concerns that you're talking about, and they don't go to get help. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if they think they can fix it themselves or if it's a weakness mentally that they feel that they have to have care, right? The other thing that I was thinking about besides the elder care, your Instagram, it looks almost like a TikTok. I think you'd be great at telling stories on TikTok, and I think the physicians and their kids and people that care about them, those gatekeepers at the front desk who won't let you get back to them unless you bring them lunch because you're always right buying something because you're a salesperson, right? So they're used to being spoiled. But TikTok, you could get great visibility on there because to me, your Instagram page kind of resembled what I see on TikTok with these people making these really things, and you just have that visibility. Oh yeah, the physician podcast and Substacks. Do you pitch podcasts? It's really easy to get on podcasts.
No, but I honestly haven't thought about that before.
Yeah,
But,
so where they're listening is where you want to be.
okay,
That's it.
perfect, thank you.
Hello, Juwan Buford, founder of Global Private Business Development Professional. I'm thinking about three things off the top of my head. When I was a former investment advisor, started my career 20 years ago, I grew up in 48228 zip code. People know, right? So when I graduated from U of M, I did not have a network of people to go to invest with, right? And I was new, inexperienced, didn't have the credibility. So something I would encourage you to do is what I did. I had a network of individuals, business owners in the community, and I would go to them, and in particular physicians. And I would go to a physician, I would say, look, I'll give you a phone call, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I just started a project that I'm working on that can help with A, B, C, and D. So some of the questions I might ask, just to kind of joke with people is, hey, is it fair to say you wouldn't recommend a dentist pull their own teeth? You wouldn't recommend that a attorney represent themselves in court, right? Is it fair to say that as a physician, particularly if you run a clinic, that you're dealing with a million different issues, you're dealing with a million different things going on personally and otherwise, and they probably have a tough time with prioritization, right? If I could take 10, 15 minutes to share how I can resolve that situation, is that something to be open to, right? Once you get in front of that person, the objective is not to get their business. The objective, because they're a closed-knit group, right? The objective is to get the person to give you what? Referrals. Because physicians know each other, just like just like attorneys, just like people in real estate. The other thing I would encourage you to do is work with people who are adjacent to the industry. Me being a former investment advisor, I know physicians, right? Matter of fact, I know several clients who probably benefit from what you're doing right now. I would encourage you to go after where the need is also more acute, right? I would take aim at physicians who actually run clinics because it's more acute. They're more open and more receptive to your message because they know they have a problem, right? Deal with real estate agents, right? In my real estate business, the last 4 houses I sold were to physicians, right? So network with individuals who already have those relationships. The last thing I would encourage you to do is hang out where physicians hang out, right? I can tell you right now in DetroitMetro where all the attorneys hang out. I can tell you in Ferndale where all the attorneys hang out. I can tell you in Ioerger where all the attorneys hang out. I go to their restaurants where they hang out. I participate with social clubs where they hang out. That way you can be in their space and not pay a pretty penny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the things I was thinking of right on top of my head that can kind of help you like get into that space, right? The other thing that you can do is, as opposed to trying to reach out to people directly on LinkedIn, become an SME expert, right? In your space, and you post that type of content. You post that type of information 3 to 4 times a day because they are on LinkedIn, and anyone who's on LinkedIn, they're either looking to hire someone, they're either looking to be hired, or they're looking for resources to level up, right? And if you become an SME expert in your space, which you can do very easily, because you're right, that's not too many people talk about what you talk about, you can attract those eyeballs as well. And hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, thank you.
All right, we have time for one more.
How you doing? I'm Josh Pollock, founder of Ioerger Real Estate Photo. I'm a real estate photographer, but my best advice is a little. So this is my Pandora's box. I can make a connection. I can learn anything I want. I can get in trouble. And at 21 years old, I realized it's not just for TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. But anyway, as growing up Jewish, I realized that my strongest connections, the most places I really learned, was at the table with the family. Because I don't use the word team anymore. I just change it in with family. Because when I'm at that table and I can ask that person and get to know you, I can ask you specifically eye to eye, making a connection. What do you need specifically? And how can I tamper your specific needs to meet your specific needs? And I don't think I could do that on Pandora's box. I need to be with you to create that warm connection. So there's things that we can do at a table where the ideas are brewing and the bonding is getting warmer and stronger. And being in the, you said in the position, my dad is, he sells amniotic skin grafts to doctors, and I work with real estate agents and stuff.
Yeah.
So when we bring people whose family member is on a deathbed needing skin grafts because their arm is about to fall off, or me trying to help someone put out a photo so they can find the home that their family is going to grow up in, you know, try to have it in person at a table and make that person feel heard and validated, because people are not being heard these days, you know. That's what I would say.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, good session today. Give yourselves a hand. All right, Michael, you got a lot of great advice. If there's one thing you could do immediately, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. That put me on the spot. One of the things that I think I was getting as a theme is this, like, connecting with people that are already working with physicians, right? And so I think one of the things that's been in my mind to start doing this week that I just haven't done yet is start to look at the private practices around town and just let them know that I exist and ask who they're looking for. Because the reality with what I do is I try to really connect my clients to small businesses and to like other providers that can meet some of those needs. It's a lot of linkage. I don't try to keep them with me forever. I try to meet the need and connect them where they need to be. And so I think maybe that's the piece that I most immediately can take advantage of.
Terrific. Give them a hand, everyone. And now, announcements. Community announcements. All right, we have some things coming up. Make you feel better soon, how to design a memorable holiday customer experience.
It's Madison Heights Chamber.
It's Madison Heights Chamber. I can't see when it is.
It
Oh,
is Thursday, November 6th.
Thursday, November 6th, talking about Small Business Saturday. Look, she has another one, optimize or get overlooked. And this one is also the Madison Heights Hazel Park Chamber. And it is Friday, November 14th. Wait, there's one more. Keep the season going, build loyalty that lasts. These are all great programs that Hazel Park and Madison Heights, which I did backwards, brings to us, and that is Wednesday, November 19th.
And they're all here at Incubizo.
And they're all here at Incubizo. All right. Donnie's got a book signing. You want to tell us about it, Donnie? Or just go see him. He's got books. He'll sign them. And then there's Suit Yourself, Success for Service. She's collecting suits for veterans, help them look nice so they go out, get a job. So if you can donate, it's 11/11 is when the event is to give out the suits. If you know a veteran, tell them about it or bring them along. If you have a suit you're not using, it looks good, bring it in and pass it along.
And Mary is here in the corner. Raise your hand, Mary. She's the one who's collecting. And this is her event for veterans. So if you know someone in your family that's a vet,
If you're not a veteran, where you go veteran? It's a brunch. It's an actual brunch, real nice brunch. At the Marriott on Veterans Day for food to choose. This is for veterans, to support veterans, but I wish you would bring a veteran if you're not a veteran. Thank you.
I have a question. Do you want women's suits?
Yes, yes. Female veterans.
Yeah.
thank you.
Trademark Demystified, do you want to come up and tell us about it? Because seats are limited.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tanisha Molden. I'm attorney Tanisha Molden. I am doing a workshop next week for trademark practitioners. Are you a trademark practitioner? No? No? But you're a business owner and you need to know about trademarks. So you may not know that you're a trademark practitioner, but you are, and you need to know more about trademarks and how it protects your brand. And that's what we're going to be talking about when you're invited. Why you should come. I think you should have me on your team. I'm just gonna say what my husband said when he met me. When he met me, he said, I need you on my team. So if you don't know me, I am a licensed attorney in Michigan. I have had my business for 5 years. I have another business that's 10 years old. My husband runs, and he actually owns it, and he runs the molded agency. We started that agency with 0 clients and now has over 5,000 clients. And now we're growing Molded Law. And this is what we're doing, educating small and medium-sized businesses on how to protect your brand and getting you into the right spaces and generating more revenue. So I hope you can join me. I did find out there's a little trouble with that link, but scan it. I'm gonna go to my office and fix it, and you will get in.
All right, and then coming up on November 6th, here she is to tell you all about it.
Hello there, I'm Melanie Summers, web designer, web and graphic designer. I am giving a workshop on November 6th about how to work with the designers. Not many things, it's not anything many people talk about because you don't really know that you need to talk about it if you're building a website. But that collaboration is key to getting the website that you want. You and your designer are going to want to be on the same page. And I'm going to teach you some strategies and steps in order to do that. It's a free workshop. You can do it from your home, in your pajamas, with your dog, with your cat. I'll be there November 6th. It's 2 hours, and it's from 5 to 7 p.m. You can sign up using the QR code, or you can go to my website, melaniesummers.com/workshop to sign up. I look forward to seeing all of you there.
Thank you, Melanie. And now, we have with the Madison Heights Hazel Park Chamber, lunch. Who doesn't like a lunch celebration? It's only 15 bucks per person. You can't beat that. You get tacos, you get rice, you get beans, and you get to hang out together. It's at Taco Tequila and Mosque. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yes, there is one event I didn't get a chance to put up, sorry about that, but it is, Oakland County is looking for small business owners who would like to do business with them. So there's an event coming up called Diverse Connections. It is at Detroit Marriott on November 9th. I'll throw the slide up after we get done because I forgot to put it in the deck. But if you want to do business with Oakland County, the procurement people will be there. It is $25, but there is a code that will allow you to get in for free. Unfortunately, the last day to sign up is Friday. So I'll put it up. Please come. It's going to be a really, really cool event. Again, Oakland County is looking for small business owners like yourselves that wish to do business with the county. So it's going to get at Detroit Marriott on the 9th. And I'll throw up the slide later on. So get a chance to do the QR code before you leave. This is a great event. And it is just one of the things that Oakland County is doing to help small businesses because Oakland County wants to be the #1 place to launch a business in the country. And we're making some great strides in doing that. Guess what? It's photography time! Yay! We're done. We finished our time.
All right, if you're on this side of the pillar, you need to move to this side of the pillar so you'll be in the shot. If you're in the back, stand up, move forward a little bit. If you're on the other side of the desk, you need to come in here.
And we post these photos on Carmen's website. Use the QR code if you want access to some of these photos. Tag us on social media, follow us on social media. We really appreciate everyone coming out. Tell a friend, bring a friend next week, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 8:30. Thanks for coming out.
All right, 1, 2.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you gotta get in it, sorry.
And we're bringing this up to
Who's not in it?
right up here.
Go ahead and
The
get in
chair
it.
of honor.
Everybody
Stand
move
over
up
there.
there. Everybody in the picture.
You have to move to this side if you want to get in the picture.
And Len?
Lynn, you can get the other chair of honor.
Okay. We are taking off in 3, 2, 1. Everybody say 1 million cups.
1 million cups!
We're done.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
And if you'd like to stay and work for the day, you can. Use your laptop, We just need to quiet down around 10:30 because there are other people working. Thanks a lot.
We can talk. That's just a small number, but that's not even a debate.